By God, that's funky. That's the intro. That's all. Hey there, I'm Jay and I'm Jotty, and welcome to my review of Thundercat's newest album, Drunk. This is his third full-length album of bass aficionado and funk master, Thundercat. Although, saying he only has 3 albums is kind of ridiculous because he's kind of become a staple on multiple other artists' albums. So if you look at an artist like Flying Lotus, Kendrick Lamar, Kamasi Washington, and he pops up on multiple others. He's very prolific. This particular album, I was pretty excited to hear. It's his first one in a few years. The singles leading up to it were fantastic. Singles like Show You the Way, Friend Zone, which I'll get into later. I'd like to say that this is his longest solo endeavor yet. It's 23 tracks long, but he crams those into a 51-minute long time. So we're kind of getting the whole Mad Villain sort of technique, where it's a lot of very short tracks that are all kind of put together to kind of give this experience of, ooh, that just happened, ooh, now there's another thing. It makes it very vibrant and just kind of bam, 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 track after track like that. I don't know what I'm saying either. This does not make it feel incohesive or disjointed though. In fact, I'd say totally the opposite. The first track, Rabbit Hole, introduces us to a pretty melancholy Thundercat, remarking on friends coming and going and coming to the conclusion that he should go hard, get drunk, and travel down the rabbit hole. And oh boy, that's what he does, because what follows is probably the most accurate representation of an alcoholic episode that I've ever heard put to music. While lyrically, Thundercat has a lot to say, or in some cases on the album, a lot to ramble. First I want to talk actually about the sound and style he employs on a lot of these tracks. Before all else, Thundercat is a bassist, okay? So naturally, what stands out the most on each of these tracks is the bass line. Depending on the mood of the song, he can come off either very playful or, in a lot of these cases, especially later on in the album, very somber, maybe even sometimes depressive. But no matter what mood his playing conveys, it comes off very honest and very sincere. And then my next point is that this would probably be categorized under just a contemporary jazz album. But, in all honesty, I'd say this has closest ties with like alternative indie pop. If you just look at the second track, Captain Stupido, the quirk on here is reminding me a lot of something like Animal Collective. I feel weird, comb your beard, brush your teeth. While we're talking about Captain Stupido, I want to mention comedy and humor, because it appears a lot on the album. Humor, it's on the album. There's something about Thundercat's just drunken rantings that never fail to make me laugh. Especially early on the album, on tracks like Bussin' These Streets, where he talks about people who tweet way too much, or A Fan's Mail, where he talks about how he wishes he was a cat and how it would be cool to be a cat. Later on, as his night of drinking progresses a bit, he makes some more personal but still hilarious points, recalling his childhood of loving anime. He was at the dentist, and his dentist gave him a Dragon Ball Z Goku slap bracelet. Ever since then, he's just been in love with anime, and he says that anime has ruined him. Or, of course, there's the song Friend Zone, which is equally hilarious, but at the same time, just very relatable. No matter what, if you do a song about, ooh, I'm in the friend zone, it's going to be automatically relatable. But the way Thundercat gets so personal on these tracks, talking about, oh, you don't like me because I play Diablo, or oh, I'd rather play Mortal Kombat than hang out with you anyway. It's just very funny and very sincere and very personal. But then there's another side to this album which becomes a lot more apparent as it progresses, I suppose. It starts out as a very comedic album with like little traces of complete and utter sadness. and slowly turns into a very, very somber album with little traces of happiness, or by the end, really just no happiness to be found at all. He remarks on racism, lost love, and the truths of his alcoholism with a sincerity that only really a drunk man can. I know we got the track Them Changes on an EP he released a couple years ago, but I prefer it a lot more on this album. It kind of kicks off this major tonal shift that we see in the second half, and we only got glimpses of this kind of vibe on earlier tracks like Lava Lamb, Jethro, Walk On By, which has a pretty fantastic verse from Kendrick Lamar, by the way. After multiple tracks of soul-sucking reflection, we get the final track on the album, DUI, which actually brings back the instrumental from the first track, Rabbit Hole. But this is possibly the saddest part of the album, because it kind of makes you realize, it brings this daunting realization that this isn't just some blip in the radar in Thundercat's life. Like, this isn't some night that's like out of the ordinary. It's like, oh man, what a crazy night, I better not do that again. The next night he will likely repeat this cycle. The final words he sings are, "One more glass to go, where this ends we'll never know," which is a basic rhyme, but in the context of the album is really just heartbreaking. Overall though, Thundercat delivers a lot to like on this new album. Sometimes I wish a song would kind of develop more, I guess, but it's kind of easy to look at these songs less as individual tracks and more as just like one cohesive piece of an album. Also, because they're so short, it kind of adds to the vibe of, oh, it's a drunken episode and his thoughts are all over the place, just kind of wandering. The only track that I'm really not a huge fan of is Drink That with Wiz Khalifa, showing the two in sort of a party-induced trance. But to me, Wiz just isn't all that interesting of a lyricist, but the backing instrumental does lend some help. Yeah, in conclusion, I think this will end up being one of my favorite albums of the year. Between the humor mixed with the incredible sadness, it really flows cohesively together as just one fantastic work. Good job, Thundercat, I guess. Can't wait to hear whatever he puts out next, inevitably with some fantastic artist like Flying Lotus or Kendrick, or if he has another solo album, I'm interested to hear that too. This has been the word of Jaden Manjati. If you disagree on my thoughts on this album, you can talk about it in the comments if you'd like. I don't know why you would dislike this album. It's so good. Thundercat. Drunk. Drops mic.